push record and just see what happens.
It's recording.
Oh, nice.
All right. So, welcome to Vibrant Wellness Unleashed. We are your hosts, Emily Ruggieri.
And I'm Mike Ruggieri.
And welcome to our first podcast. Bear with us as we are learning how to do this. It's probably not going to be great to start, but here we go.
But we'll give it our best shot.
All right. So, just kind of want to introduce ourselves in this first podcast. I am, like I said, Emily Ruggieri, and I am a licensed massage therapist. I opened my own business in 2019 at my sister's chiropractic office. My business is called Whole Body Wellness Massage, and I opened that in 2019, and then recently, this past June of 2023, I opened my own Crystal Cave store. So it's just a bunch of crystals, and that is with my massage business as well.
And I'm Mike. I am a strength and conditioning coach. I've been coaching fitness since about 2010, 2011 now, like somewhere within that time frame. I actually started in a vocational school when I was in high school because I was always interested in fitness and health, and I was always wanting to know how things worked. And I ended up just going on some field trips in places and kind of fell in love with CrossFit when I was younger. And I started coaching at CrossFit Buffalo, and then as time kind of evolved, I eventually really started my own exercise program design business, and it really took off probably like around 2016, 17-ish. And so really for the past 5 to 6 years, I've been running my own business, Peak Performance Programming, independently, and then doing some coaching work on the side as well within CrossFit Buffalo and Western New York Spinal Solutions.
And I think we'll definitely get more into both of those as we go on. But we also just wanted to kind of talk about how we met, that whole story. Do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
I could start. So I remember the first time I actually met Emily, it was at her sister's 30th birthday party.
So going on
so that would have been
7 years
2017.
Almost.
It would have been April of 2017.
Yeah, I think so.
It was a bowling party. I remember the first time I really saw her, she was bowling. And of course, she wasn't bowling the right way. She was bowling like between her legs upside down. And I was just thoroughly amused with all of her antics and kind of how she floated about in the bowling alley there. So I knew kind of then, I was like, oh, there's something special about her. I was like, yes. Special? But it was the special that that I found extremely cute. And so I was like, oh, I gotta learn more about this person.
Yeah, and then I was actually working for a surgeon in that same year, and I was deciding to go back to school for massage therapy, and so my hours just didn't work with him, so I actually ended up working with my sister. I was front desk, kind of like reception person at her office. And then she ended up actually hiring Mike as well. So we were like the little dynamic duo at her office. And we just got to know each other really well. And I'm sure Mike has some good stories about me there.
I was going to say, and I mean, really then our relationship continued to grow, probably by her own frustration with doing things behind the desk. She would always have a lot of sighing and a lot of and a lot of like throwing her hands up in the air, because at the time we also had to scan in what was probably close to several hundred patient files along with insurance forms. And so it was just a chronic cycle of scanning papers in pretty much our entire shifts in between working with patients and helping the doctor set things up. And so I was always amused when the scanner wouldn't work for her, but then I would turn around and come back to help her, and within 2 seconds all that she was struggling to scan would then scan.
Mike would soon learn I do not own the patient's virtue.
No.
He is my patient's. And then let's see, we were kind of just best friends for a little bit, like about 2 years.
Like for 2 years.
And I always joked around and said that he was going to be my best friend, except he was very mysterious. He would not let me into his life, no matter how hard I tried. But I kept chasing, and I eventually was like, all right, you are going to ask me on a date now. And we ended up in 2019 going to Spot Coffee for the world's most awkward date.
Yes. She is right. I very much keep to myself, and so I really kind of forced her to have to say, hey, we're going to do this. And I was like, all right. I guess we're going to do this then.
We're doing this. And yeah, so it was a very awkward date. We had some coffee, we went on a walk, and then as we left, we both were just kind of like, do we hug? What do we do?
I was gonna say, yeah, and what was also left out was as we were walking, I was like, oh, look, a cemetery. Let's go walk through there.
It's romantic.
We ended up walking through a cemetery, pretty much during our first date, and I was like, oh, I wonder if this is a great thing. It's like, oh, well, we'll walk through a cemetery. It's like we'll go check out some dead people.
And you know what? The rest is history.
Yep.
I think just both of our weirdness together works really well, and I think people are perplexed by it, but it works for us.
I say it just works.
Yeah. What else you got?
Trying to think if there's really anything else.
I think just basically we wanted, well, I guess too, we got married.
I was gonna say, well, yes, we also
Didn't
did
end
get
there.
married this past year.
How did we
It's like,
forget about that?
we ultimately ended up getting married this past May.
Yeah, Mike proposed.
September of 21.
Yeah, and then we
And we
just
had
got
a little
married.
over a year to prepare for our wedding and everything that kind of went along with that.
Yeah, so we got married May 20th, 2023, and we like to try new things together. We like to work out together, and then we thought, hey, why not try a podcast?
Yeah.
So here we are. So going forward, I think we're going to do little 15-20 minute segments on health, wellness, relationships, everything in between, whatever you can think of. We'll have guests on here in those fields, or just little special guests, surprises. That'll be just fun.
And of course, our processes will become more refined as we get more practice with how all of this works, how our audio sounds,
Right, you start
how
everything you
the
start.
recording equipment is functioning, etc. So to me, start off kind of sounding a little rocky and shaky, but it will eventually get smoother
It's fine.
once we figure out how all of this works.
You can laugh at us. It can be cringy, whatever.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yep, but we'll definitely end up having some interesting people on. We know plenty of interesting people, so where the conversations will go from here will really kind of be a fun ride to stay tuned with.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for listening to our very first short podcast here, and we hope you'll tune in to some of the future ones that we'll have coming out.
Whenever we choose to.
Whenever the stars align and things